Hey guys, I just wanted to talk today about how we stay like very lean as a software company and like a few of the like principles and like methodologies that I've sort of pushed into Notifier as a business, but also like hopefully it gives you some ideas and inspiration of how you can sort of stay very lean. Like this can be applied, like these principles can be applied to any business. Obviously, in this particular example, I'm talking about SaaS and software companies. But yeah, hopefully it will give you some ideas about about how to remain very lean. So I'll start off by saying like when we initially started building like Notifier, obviously I knew that it needed to be very lean. I also knew that we were going to be releasing a lot of different features. Like we were going to have about like in total 50 different tools within our collection of website widgets. So we had to build like the technical architecture to be like capable of making it very easy for us to plug in new systems into our platform. So for any like technical people amongst you, I won't go too deep into this, but Notifier functions through an API. We have like a database, and in there we're just we're writing out the different like logic for all of the different functions and features within Notifier, and then they're just stored within our script. Um, so they can be reused across any different like widget. For example, if we have like if we're building like exit intent functionality, once that's built into our main script, it can be used across any widget, which allows it to remain very lean. Um, but on top of that, it makes it very easy for us to plug in new tools into the platform. All we're doing is making the front end HTML, CSS, and trying to make everything look nice. And then we're just writing up like the JSON file, which is plugged into the dashboard stored in our database. So essentially, every time all the notified dashboard is doing is constructing an API request that is going to be sent to our API from your website to display a notification. And because we have like the structure built like this, like technically we can actually release like 3 to 5 new widgets per day if we have the designs and if our developers are just working on widgets like all the time, particularly if it's just on functionality that we have that already exists. It's very fast to push out these widgets. So literally from day one, we were very clear and like we defined the scope of the project and how important it was for us to be able to just plug in um, new widgets and tools into our platform at a very like rapid rate. And there's not many other platforms out there at all. I don't know of any, in fact, that are able to release widgets at the rate that we are. But then just sort of following on from that, so as we release each individual widget into Notifier, everything is actually released as a micro MVP. So usually you would talk about like building an MVP in terms of like the minimum viable product itself as a whole. So what is the minimum that we can do to have a functional product? So we applied those methodologies to the Notifier dashboard itself. How can we get this to market fastest? But now that we're like constantly releasing like new tools and products, and even just with like new features, I'm always working to every single feature released within Notifier, every single new widget that we released is actually released in like an MVP style approach. So what is the minimum amount of functionality that we can have to have this as a functioning product that delivers value to our customers? Which is why you don't see loads of like different integrations and different styles coming like on the initial release. We have like the basic integrations, webhooks and email, so anyone can technically integrate to anywhere from there. They can use Zapier, Integromat, or send over directly to MailChimp or any other tool. But we don't build out all of like the native stuff, and this is just so that we're able to release things really quickly within the dashboard. And then based on feedback that we receive from customers, there's no point in us spending like 2 weeks building out this tool that we think is a great idea, adding all of like the different integrations, all the bells and whistles, doing loads of different style options if it turns out like people don't actually use it. So we're tracking how frequently each individual widget is used, what the most popular ones are. We're going to be changing over to a like pay per widget scheme. So we're going to see which widgets are actually making the most revenue for us. And by using this type of approach and releasing things like in a very simple way, we can then just invest in okay, so we can see exactly which widget is driving the most revenue for us, which is being used the most, and we know that's where to focus our efforts on. So this is just it's a very easy and simple way for us to work, and it means that we don't have any waste in terms of spending time releasing features um, that people don't want. The only problem that you do have is you receive a lot of pressure to improve the widgets constantly. So this would be called like technical debt. So you're releasing something very quickly, and which is obviously great. You know, you're getting it out there, you're giving the functionality to people, and they're able to use the tools. Um, but because you've released it so quickly, like you sort of owe, like we would call it technical debt. You owe more time to improving that feature as long as it is being used by people. So then as we like pick up and grow our audience, we have a lot of different tools that need like some TLC that need adding the new sort of functionality and improvements to them. Um, I truly believe that the benefits really outweigh the negatives, because otherwise we would have maybe half, maybe even less of the current tools that we have available within our dashboard. If any of you are running like a software company as well, it's always very good to think to like your developers are some of the smartest people in the company, almost always. So you should give them permission to, if you have an idea of something that you want built, give your developers permission to come back with feedback saying, okay, like this feature we think would take like 5 days to build, but if we get rid of this, this, and this, it could be done in one day. Um, and that way you're just getting it out into the platform as fast as possible. So they're doing it in like 25% of the time, which actually means you would have more than 4 times as many feature releases every year, or even every month. So just doing things like that, I think are just very clever. So definitely encourage your developers to come back with like a lean mindset. You know, break down the task into individual steps of what actually needs to be done, and what is the most simple way that you can push the tool. Like this, I think really applies to startups, but it does also apply to like larger companies. But startups can get away with releasing more like lean products. Like if Apple released like a MVP, it may not go down too well. But for startups, this is it's a great methodology. It's very widely accepted, and people are very happy to see like constant tools being released onto the platform, even if it is within like an MVP stage and there are like issues and you're letting your users do the testing for you and getting the feedback from them. It doesn't result in many like negative responses. Obviously, like really, we're split up into like three different types of people. Like 20% of people are early adopters, 30% of people, I've forgotten the name of it now, follow on after the early adopters. Then like about 50% of people, they're just like the mainstream people, so they wait for something to be like a fully functional, like perfect product being used by tens and thousands of people before making the move over. So you'll usually see growth like that within like Facebook. The first people that were on there were the early adopters, and then everyone else started following along. And then after that, that is when like your parents and things like that started to come onto the platform. That they would be like the final 50%. Like they're not the real like innovators within society in general. That's quite a general summarization, but just to make it a bit clearer. So as long as your customer base are like early adopters, if you're an early age startup, then most likely they are early adopters who are looking for new innovative solutions, and they're happy to have like a few bucks in there to be using like new tools and saving money and using the latest technology. So yeah, I wouldn't be put off by that. And even with bugs, I want just this has gone very software focused now, but with bugs, I actually find if as long as you're very responsive, like if you're able to fix a bug on the first time a customer sends it over, so there aren't like delays and things like that. If you're able to respond to it very quickly, I actually think it often results in being a positive experience for the customer. If you're able to fix a bug within like 5, 10 minutes, they report something and you're going back 10 minutes later saying this is now resolved for you, and then it works perfectly for them. Often you get a very positive message after that saying like, wow, like you're really, that was really responsive, that was amazing, like this is best for support I've ever seen. So you can actually turn an initial negative experience into a positive, with customer support. And I've like seen a real trend of this recently, like when we are really responsive to bugs and things are getting done and sorted out very quickly. um, People are very happy. Like, people, it's not the bugs themselves that the customers have a problem with. It's more the support and response time. Like, they don't want to feel like they're being ignored. Everyone needs to feel like there's being some action and activity being taken on something that they report. Um, so yeah, that's just quite an interesting insight that has come to me recently. For like, if you're interested in reading about staying lean, there's like a whole collection of books out there now. Like, Lean UX is one that is on my read list. I'm going to be getting it for Christmas to have a read over that, so I can share some insights with that. There's also like Lean Analytics, Lean Product Playbook, Running Lean, Staying Lean, the Lean Startup. Getting Real is is one of my favorite books, and is really about sort of staying lean as a company. So yeah, I'll put a link to some of those in the description. But yeah, definitely listen to your developers, listen to any feedback they have on how they can like minimize waste and what they can do, and try and think of a very sort of lean approach to building your product. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.